everybody, welcome back to another Shakuhachi video. Today I'm going to be comparing my 1.8 Giadi flute and my 1.8 Jinashi flute and talk just a little bit about like the difference in materials of these and what makes the difference between a Giadi and a Jinashi. We'll do some sound samples as well. So these flutes are both the exact same size, 1.8 Shakuhachi, so they're tuned to the pitch D in the Western Standard tuning. D440 that is, and you'll notice that they're both of darker color, but the Jinashi flute is actually made with susudake. So there are two types of susudake. So there's this one here that we have that is the Giadi flute, the one that's on top, and then we have the honmono susudake, which is the one that's on bottom. So the one on top, this is actually quite old bamboo as well. It was sitting in storage for 40 years curing, and so the general process is you hire a professional bamboo hunter. They go out into the bamboo forest. They find bamboo that fits the perfect standard for making of shakuhachi. Usually it's usually around 5 years old of being in the ground. They cut that bamboo down. They send a bunch of it to the makers. The makers will put the date of when they're putting it in the storage unit on the bottom of here of the bell end of the instrument. They put it into a storage unit, into a cabinet, and then it just sits there. And so this one was sitting in the storage unit for about 40 years. Remembering that both these flutes are made by Yozan, and Yozan's been making for 5 decades. So this was probably at the beginning of a shop where he had a lot of this bamboo sitting around. This is regular bamboo, and then when they get it smoked, it's the same process of doing smoked salmon, and that's how they get the darker colorations on it. This one also happened to be goma bamboo, so it has some extra really nice fine colorings on the end of the flute as well. Now here is the susudake, honmono susudake flute, and so you'll notice that the coloration is a lot different than the kind of the smoked salmon version. Basically you when you smoke it yourself. So this sort of bamboo, and by the way, this bottom part was added onto it. So the only part that's real susudake is this top part, so the main body of the flute, but the bell end is a separate piece of bamboo. So the bamboo was hanging in a roof, in an old like a farmhouse roof like this, and you can kind of see where there might have been other bamboo poles or there was wrappings and bindings, and that's why this part is a little bit lighter. You can also see that the back is where the smoke wasn't hitting directly like it was here. So the bamboo is hanging like this for about 150 to 300 years in these old homes. And then when this one was taken down, it actually sat in storage. From what I was told from the bamboo shop that I got it from, they said that this particular bamboo had probably been in there for about 60 years. So we're talking about a fairly old piece of bamboo that was sitting in storage. So now this one is Jinashi, and this one is the Giadi. So what is the difference between it? So G is a paste that is, in essence, it's tonoko and urushi. And tonoko is kind of like the cement powder. And then you mix them together with water, and it gets this really thick, creamy paste, and you line the inside of the bamboo in order for tuning. And it just so much power, tuning, core of sound. It really makes the instrument a lot easier to play as well. So the first thing that you'll notice about this Giadi flute is how heavy it is. So this one I would really say is probably over 500 grams easily. It's so heavy. This one is about 366 grams is what we had it weighed out to. But yeah, this one I almost say it's even more than that, but I can't say it's like 600 grams, but it almost feels double the weight of this one. So the feeling, I would probably say it's about 500, maybe a little bit more grams than that. So let's just give it a sound test so you can hear that difference. And we'll just do row, scale up, and scale down. So right away you can hear that classic Giadi sound with lots of power. Let's hear the Jinashi. And for me me sitting here, I don't know how well the the microphones are picking it up and translating it into ones and zeros, and then translating it into another ones and zeros for it to come out to your from your computer screen, how that sounds. But the initial sound that I hear, if we just compare row, and then we play the row here, there's already a huge sound difference in terms of volume and core. So the Giadi flute has a lot more bass and sound to it. However, along with that comes with a little bit of brassiness and a little bit of tinniness that you don't find in the Jinashi flute. So let's do a little just a little example of some music just to compare it side by side. And so for that, sitting around the re pitch and the u pitch, the sounds that I'm noticing is that the Giadi is a lot sharper. And I don't mean in pitch like sharper. I mean that the edges of the note are very clear and precise, whereas the Jinashi has a lot of bit of mysteriousness around the edges. It's very fuzzy. And with that, it actually allows for it to have a lot more color. So when I want to change, for example, that muraiki effect with that bellowing of the note, lots and lots of muraiki, lots of really good sounds. And actually, it's interesting. It's like the muraiki is clearer. Like I can actually hear the pulsations, and they're much more consistent than they are on the Jinashi. So it's very interesting how that Tonoko paste, it seems, really cleans it up. Now, also looking at the thickness of the bamboo, they're actually very, very similar in size, and that's actually really quite remarkable too. That you have like two examples of flutes with almost the exact same thickness, very similar bores in the top here. This one has the Giadi has a little bit of a wider at the top than the Jinashi does, and so but they're made by the same maker, which makes it a really good experiment to compare, because I can hear the sounds of Yozan in both flutes. I can hear the Jinashi. I can hear Yozan's sound in Jinashi, and I can hear the Yozan sound in Giadi, but they're very different because I get the power and the warmth of the Giadi, and then I get the color and the subtleties in the Jinashi, as long as a lot of the wind sounds. So I hope this was helpful. Let me play a couple more things for you on these two flutes.